There are no shortcomings when it comes to game releases in 2019 for the Nintendo Switch. With an obscene 1,350 games that appeared on the eShop this year, it's obvious that some games might have fallen through the cracks and went unnoticed. Let's check out 12 games on Switch you might have missed out in 2019. Yang Yumo is seemingly an ordinary high school girl caught up in a strange incident where she must go up against a god in the neon-infused streets of Xiangmeng. Dusk Divers, a Musou-style action game with light RPG elements that offers a fresh and interesting take on a genre that is desperate need of revitalization. Kill, Dash, and Rewind are the three pillars of Katana Zero, an indie side-scrolling pixel art action game where you play as the dragon, a hire killer taking contracts that will often put him in very tricky situations. This game's fast and unforgiving pace fits right at home with its very simple narrative. You live and die by the sword. Grid Autosport is an embarrassment of riches, giving you 5 very distinct types of races to take on, be it in the streets, racetracks, or off. The amount of car customization is staggering for a sim game of this type, plus the different performance options are simply a bonus on top of a recently added online multiplayer mode. Stack your 4 heroes on top of each other in the 2D dungeon side-scrolling platformer Lapis X Labyrinth. Then swing your weapon or cast a spell to take down enemies, and watch the spectacle commence as flashy coins, crystals, and shards, and anything in between begins to flood the screen. Half of the fun comes from watching the frenzied parade of colors draw on your senses, while the other is a deep RPG experience with some interesting puzzles to keep you invested throughout its playthrough. Astro Chain is easily the most overlooked Switch exclusive in 2019, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why. Platinum's game's fast, hectic, and flashy combat is in full effect in this action/detective game, where you take on a few moments to analyze a crime scene that almost will always lead to an over-the-top fight that never fails to deliver. Castlevania Anniversary Collection is something of a masterpiece collection if I've ever seen one. It comes with the first 4 mainline games in the series and 8 games in total, 3 from the NES, 1 SNES, 2 Mega Drive, 1 Game Boy game, and last one from the Famicom, giving you the earliest look at one of the most praised and lavish franchises in the early years of gaming that is not to be dismissed. The first entry of the new Atelier trilogy, Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout, is a step in the right direction for the storied franchise. First, it gets a huge visual bump from prior entries. Second, it brings a more active combat system that builds upon itself as you play along. And lastly, it makes every character viable and valuable as their personal motivations and goals are reflected properly in the story. That's not even to mention the island secrets you're asked to discover. Valhalla Cyberpunk Bartender Action is exactly as the title implies, a game where you play as Jill, a bartender in the cyberpunk universe dealing with the everyday struggles of making booze for strangers. Quirky, funny, and downright weird characters will slosh in and out of the bar where everyone has something interesting to say, be it about their personal life, a social message, or simply extending a helping hand. Kaname Date is tasked with finding a serial killer that will lead him into a rabbit hole of intrigue and turmoil in the sci-fi murder mystery game AI The Somnium Files. Aided by an AI that serves as his left eye, he meets interesting characters that will shape his life as well as change the perspective of the story as it plays out. With a roster of over 300 critters, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition bundles both Cyber Sleuth games into one neat package. This turn-based 3v3 battle-heavy JRPG has an interesting story that serves as a good entryway for collecting and evolving your Digimon, plus experiencing an alternative monster catching experience that isn't Pokemon. Grisaya is a popular visual novel series that got its roots on several 18+ entries on the PC. The Grisaya trilogy is a repackaging of said visual novels without the age scenes and some dialogue changes made for the console version. However, this package does contain the Fruit, Labyrinth, and Eden of Grisaya to its entirety, including many of the side stories and even added scenes to make up for the removal of some of the lewd moments, making this entry not just an amazing bang for your buck experience, but something more of an archive for one-of-a-kind visual novel. The storybook-like action side-scroller The Liar Princess and Blind Prince is a whimsical tale of a shape-shifting princess protecting a prince as they both make their way around the world. It's like a giant escort mission game with some charming visuals and an interesting story that doesn't overstay its welcome. So there you have it, 12 games that are worth a second look on the Nintendo Switch in 2019. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to my channel. See ya!